Welcome to this explainer. Okay, I want you to just take a quick second and think about your day so far. Actually, think about your whole week. Chances are it's involved endless scrolling, a constant stream of notifications, and maybe this kind of lingering, heavy sense of anxiety or burnout, right? It's basically the modern mental crisis. We're literally surrounded by noise all the time. But what if I told you that the cure for this very modern exhaustion doesn't come from some new app or a fancy biohack, but from over a millennium ago? So let's dive right into this. The man we're looking at today actually understood stress, emotions, consciousness, trauma, and even the mind-body connection way before modern psychology even existed. I mean, before neuroscience, before therapy, before MRI scans were even a thought, there was Ibn Sina. He's also known in the West as Avicenna. This guy was a philosopher, a physician, a scientist, and a mystic. But most importantly, he was really one of the very first humans to study the human soul scientifically. If Ibn Sina were to magically look at us today, completely overstimulated, emotionally exhausted, and mentally fragmented, he'd probably give our society a pretty devastating diagnosis. He'd say, "You have more knowledge than ever, but less wisdom than ever before." We're absolutely drowning in information, yet somehow we feel completely empty. And as we're going to see throughout this explainer, that crazy paradox might just be the absolute biggest crisis of our age. Section 1. The modern crisis versus the ancient mind doctor. To really understand how to fix our modern pain, you can basically consider this explainer your ancient survival guide for the modern mind. Just imagine being so intellectually gifted that by the age of 18, you had totally mastered medicine, philosophy, mathematics, physics, and spirituality. He wrote over 450 works, including the Canon of Medicine, which literally shaped global health practices for hundreds of years. But his true revolution, the real game changer, was his fundamental belief that a human being is inextricably both physical and spiritual. While our modern society likes to separate science, spirituality, and mental health into their own little boxes, Ibn Sina knew that true healing required full integration. Let's see how this builds into our current reality. Today, our daily consumption is just completely filled with notifications, short videos, AI, and infinite stimulation. Get this, we consume more content in a single day than ancient humans did in months. It's wild. Contrast that with Ibn Sina's path of reflection, observation, and conscious choice. He firmly believed that knowledge without wisdom actually becomes inherently dangerous. The absolute crucial point here is this: information is not wisdom. Modern neuroscience calls our current state cognitive overload. Too much stimulation completely weakens our focus. It fragments our memory, and it throws our nervous system totally off balance. And look, social media algorithms literally profit from keeping your mind distracted, because a distracted brain is just so much easier to control. It completely silences your inner voice, leaving you incredibly mentally fragmented. Section 2. The Floating Man Experiment. To counter all this fragmentation, Ibn Sina designed one of the most mind-bending philosophical thought experiments ever conceived, just to ask a super profound question about who we really are. It's called the Floating Man Experiment. Okay, I want you to actually try to imagine this. Imagine a human floating in complete, absolute emptiness. You have no sight, no hearing, no sense of touch. There's zero physical sensation and zero interaction with the outside world. Ibn Sina asked, in this state of total sensory deprivation, would this person still know that they exist? And his conclusion was just profound. He said, even without senses, awareness remains. Keep in mind, this was proposed over 1,000 years before modern psychology or neuroscience were even a thing. He was exploring the very foundation of self-awareness and consciousness, basically proving that our core existence is totally independent of our physical experiences. And this brilliantly illustrates a cure for our modern struggles. Think about it. You are not your job. You are not your appearance. You are definitely not your follower count. If your entire identity relies on external validation, then a single negative comment can emotionally destroy you. Without inner awareness, We essentially just become biological robots with Wi-Fi, just reacting automatically to every single impulse. Consciousness, exactly as Ibn Sina showed us, goes way deeper than any external label.
Section 3. The Science of Emotional Healing.
So this deep understanding of consciousness naturally led Ibn Sina to completely revolutionize how we view physical health. Honestly, modern neuroscience is basically just catching up to him. He observed 1,000 years ago that fear and sadness literally weaken the physical body. And today, well, we know for a fact that chronic stress increases cortisol and heart disease risk. We know trauma actually reshapes the brain, and that anxiety directly impacts your digestion. Your body is constantly always listening to your mind. Which brings us to this harsh but absolutely vital reality. Unhealed emotions don't just disappear, they hide in the body. Suppressed emotions turn into internal pressure, which eventually leads to panic attacks, depression, and just total exhaustion. This is exactly why treating modern burnout with just another cup of coffee is literally like pouring gasoline on a house fire and asking why the living room is getting warmer. You just cannot heal a stressed nervous system with more stimulation. Section 4, the Ibn Sina framework. So, how do we actually fix this? Well, Ibn Sina didn't just diagnose the problem. He provided a highly actionable survival guide. Here is his integrated approach. Step 1, rebuild inner stillness by cutting out all that noise. Step 2, strengthen reason over impulse. Step 3, heal the body to heal the mind. Turns out sleep and movement actually really matter. Step 4, seek knowledge with humility, because ego totally blocks real learning. And step 5, reconnect with the soul. True healing absolutely requires bringing the body, mind, and soul back together. Now, I really want to dive deeper into step 2 for a second. Before you react to anything, just ask yourself, is this useful? Is this true? Most of our suffering today comes from impulsive living, scrolling emotionally, arguing emotionally, buying emotionally. Ibn Sina taught that reason simply must guide emotion. Taking just a single deliberate pause to ask yourself these questions before reacting can totally cure the impulsive living that social media algorithms are constantly trying to force upon us. And we absolutely cannot ignore step 5. Modern society endlessly feeds the brain with entertainment, but it completely starves the soul. That right there is exactly why people feel profoundly empty despite having infinite content right at their fingertips. Stimulation is not fulfillment. We desperately need meaning, purpose, and inner alignment, whether that's through reflection, being out in nature, or service to others, to truly be whole. Section 5. What Ibn Sina would warn us about today. Bringing all this amazing ancient wisdom fully into the present, we really have to ask ourselves, if Ibn Sina were standing here right now, observing our tech-obsessed world, what would be his ultimate warning to us? Honestly, if he could observe us, he'd see that we are incredibly technologically advanced, but severely emotionally immature. We've upgraded our devices, sure, but definitely not our consciousness. Attention is our single most valuable resource, and we're just giving it away to glowing screens. External progress without inner wisdom creates deep, profound imbalance and suffering. A distracted mind simply cannot discover truth. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. Are you trying to escape your mind, or are you trying to understand it? We've learned exactly how to connect to the internet, but we've completely forgotten how to connect to ourselves. True healing isn't about becoming emotionless, and it definitely isn't about rejecting either science or spirituality. It's about integrating both, seeking balance, and building true self-awareness. So I challenge you to take a page from Ibn Sina's book today. Find some stillness, understand your mind, and start truly healing. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and keep seeking balance.